In the last video, we coded the ability to save posts to a watch list. Now we need the ability to query the watch list and display it in a grid, just like we do in the search fragment screen right here. So we'll start by creating the layout for the watch list, and like I've done for the previous layouts, I'm just going to paste this one in. So link is in the description to get the source code for my GitHub page if you don't want to write this out, but it's pretty simple. It's just a frame layout with the ID watch list container and then a recycler view with the ID watch list recycler view. Pretty straightforward. So we can actually close that, and now we're going to go into watch list fragment. There's going to be a lot of similarities in this class to search fragment, but it's got to be just a little different, obviously. So we'll start by creating some global variables. So private static final integer num. Actually, I can just copy it instead of typing all this out. So let's go into search fragment, and we need to copy this stuff up here. So that's the grid columns and then the grid item margin, and then we do a widget section and a variables section. And in the widgets, we just need two. We need the recycler view, so m recycler view, and then we need a frame layout, m frame layout. And for the variables, we just need four things. We're going to do our post list adapter and call it m adapter, and then we need an array list of post objects to hold our list of posts, and we need an array list of the strings for the post IDs. And then we need our database reference, and I'm creating a global database reference here because we're going to be adding a value event listener that's going to listen constantly for changes to the database. So usually what we do is we make a single event listener just to get a single query, but this time we're going to be listening for all changes to the database. So that way we know exactly when somebody adds something to their watch list, and the list will be updated immediately. So there's our watch list recycler view. I'm still getting used to this new keyboard that I got. I keep missing keys. r.id, then this one's going to be the watch list container. Okay, and then we're going to call our init method, which I haven't made yet, and we're going to scroll down and make that. So private void init, and inside of init, what do we need? So first of all, initializing, I guess we can do, and then do mpost equals new array list, and then we're going to call our method for setting up the post list, I guess would be the next thing. So private void setup post list, and this is going to be the same as in search fragment. So if we scroll down here, we should have a method setup post list, so we can literally just copy this. It's going to be exactly the same, and I'm just going to paste it right here. Nothing changes, literally identical to the one that we have in search fragment. And then something else we can get that's in search fragment is the view post method. So right here, view post method, we're going to copy that and go into watch list fragment, paste that in. The only thing we need to change is this container. So this is going to be the watch list container, and everything else should be the same actually. Yep, should be good. Now we're going to create a method for retrieving the post IDs, the IDs that are in the watch list. And then we're going to create one more method, and that's going to be for getting the posts themselves once we have the IDs. So we'll go private void get watch list IDs is what we'll call it, and just do a log, say getting users watch list, and then we can say if mpost does not equal null, then we can go mpost.clear to clear the list, and if mpost IDs also does not equal null, then post IDs.clear, just to clear the list before we actually get the IDs, just to kind of start at square one, basically, I guess you could say. So now let's get a database reference equals Firebase Database get instance get reference, and then we create our query object, child get string r.string dot we're looking for the watch list node, and then we can do order by key, and then equal to Firebase auth get instance get current user get UID, because we're going into this current user's watch list. So we can do query add listener for single value event. New value event listener, and we're going to get the list of all of the IDs. So database or data snapshot equals data snapshot get children, and string ID equals snapshot dot child get string r.id dot post ID is what we're looking for, and then get value and toString. So that'll get the ID. Then we can log it, say found a post ID, and just say ID. And then we can do post IDs and then add that to the list. So we'll just say ID, and there we go. And once we complete that, once we get our list of IDs, then we can call the method for getting the posts. No, that's not quite right actually, because we won't be inside the node. So create a data snapshot, do single snapshot, and then do equal data snapshot get children iterator.next, and that'll put us inside of that user's ID looking at all of the posts, and then take the single snapshot, put it here, and then that will iterate through all of the posts. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so that will get our post IDs, and then after that we want to call our method for getting posts. So we'll call get posts, and I'll create that method down here. So private void get posts. Okay, so if mPost IDs dot size is greater than 0, then we know we actually have some. So in that case, we'll get our database reference equals Firebase Database, nope, not Firebase exception, Firebase Database get instance get reference, and now we can create, or we're going to iterate through each one of the post IDs and get the information for it. So we're going to do a for loop. So integer I equals 0, I is less than post IDs dot size, and then do I plus plus. And we need to create a query for each one. So getting post information for post IDs dot get I. So create our query equals reference dot child, and this is going to be in the post node. So r dot string dot posts, so node posts. And then order by key should do it, order by key, and then do equal to mPost IDs dot get the one that we're talking about, and then do query dot add listener for single value event, new value event listener. There should be only one match, so we can do data snapshot single snapshot equals data snapshot get children iterator dot next, and then we can assign it to our object. So post equals single snapshot dot get value, and do post dot class. That'll get our post, and then we can log it and say found a post. And you can either print it out, the whole post out, by doing post dot toString, or just print out its title or something. That will be less clutter for the log. Then do post dot add that post to your list. And once we complete that, we can do madapter dot notify that the data set has changed. So we're telling the adapter that, okay, the data that we gave you is now changed, so please update it. And so if also else up here, so if there is nothing, then we also want to do madapter notify the data set changed. So I can just write a comment, still need to notify the adapter if the list is empty. Okay, so that is good. Now we just need to initiate all this. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to create a value event listener that's going to be listening at all times. So whether someone removes something from their watch list, adds it to their watch list, or does anything, automatically this listener will be listening to that node. So up in init here, we'll set up the post list first of all, and now we're going to assign the reference for that listener. So reference for listening when items are added or removed from the watch list. So we can do our global reference equals Firebase Database get instance get reference, and we need to reference the node we want to watch. So r.string.node watch list, and then child Firebase auth get instance get current user get the user ID. So that will be listening, and then we're going to create a listener class. So set the listener to the reference, and we'll do reference.addValue event listener, and I'm going to call it listener. I'll call it mListener actually. And I haven't made that yet. So let's create that. We're going to scroll down to I guess the bottom. And the reason I'm creating the value event listener like this, like we usually don't do this, is because we need to be able to remove it in the onDestroy method, because otherwise if we don't, it's going to continue listening all the time even when the app closes, and that's obviously not a good idea because it can tie up resources. So change was made to this users watch list node, and then we can do get watch list IDs, and that will initiate the process. So we need to override the onDestroy method, and inside onDestroy what we want to do is do mReference.remove event listener, and then pass the listener. Because like I said, if we don't remove this listener when the fragment is destroyed, it will continue listening at all times, even when the app is closed. So obviously you don't want that. So add value event listener, then we pass our listener, and there we go. So that should do it. Just kind of a quick look at things here. That's not being called because in our adapter we don't have that. So let's do that right now. So we're going to copy this code right here and just put it here, and then just change this to watch list fragment, watch list fragment. That's watch list fragment. Change that to watch list fragment. So that should be good now. So if we go back into watch list fragment, now that's being used. I think we're good, but let's test it and see what it looks like. Looks like we've got a crash. If I open the log, it's saying there's a null pointer pointing towards an array list. So if I click this, it points me to here, this line. So that leads me to believe that the posts array, wait, where did it post me? Or where did it take me? To, yeah, post IDs array. So the post IDs array is likely null, and you can see here that it was never instantiated, so equals new array list. And that should take care of that null pointer. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, let's head over to the watch list. There we have that item coming through. Let's actually try and add something else to the watch list also. So I'm going to click on this pen, go to save post. Now I'm going to go over to the watch list, and cool, it was added. Now I'm going to click on it, and that looks good. Also notice the text is changed up here, so now it says remove. I don't think I did actually attach the code, so you can see it removed it from the watch list, and it immediately closed it and brought me back. So I'll try and remove that one. I crashed it. So what likely, I got an ad. What likely happened there was I removed the last one from the array list, and then the array list is empty, so it probably caused a no such element exception. Okay, so let's see where that error is. Right, so here the data snapshot is looking in the database, and it can't even find that node, which is strange, because then this query shouldn't have even ran actually. That query shouldn't have ran, but so what we'll do is we need to perform a check before we get the single snapshot. So just do if data snapshot.getChildren.iterator.hasNext, then we can proceed with what we were doing. Because basically it's telling me that there's no children, and that's true because we removed everything from the watch list. So we'll run that again and take a look. Okay, so the watch list is cleared, so let's add one new thing to the watch list. Go to the watch list. Now let's remove it, and it says remove from watch list, but it looks like it's still in there, and that's because this if statement isn't running, and so therefore this isn't running. So I think what we need to do is we can leave that there actually, but then we can also go else get posts, because that way this will still run even if there are no posts. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so the watch list should be empty. Yep. So let's search and just add something to it. And now remove it. And there we go. Cool, so everything now is working as we expect.